Just got looking back on the first league season for the under-23s. It's been a successful one, but going right back to the start, a much different squad, and it was a difficult start to the season with 2 draws, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were obviously entered the new league, the Total Motions and 21s league. Something that I think we had to enter for the lads. But I think we started the season with a lot of youngster academy lads, and as the season's gone on, we've had a few players that have been able to play. So obviously Shane, Dara, Brett, obviously they didn't get international clearance, but as the season went on, they've obviously been able to get the clearance and been able to add to the squad.
And those players that have then got into the team and played a lot of games as the season's gone on, they've really shown a lot of improvement, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean we've obviously started the season 2 draws, Sutton Coldfield, Howells Owen. Without being disrespectful to the players, but we've had a little bit more quality in there. Attacking wise, Dad Shane, who's scored 20 odd goals this year. Ethan, Zach, Nori, they've added quality to the front line. Just give us that a little bit more in front of goal.
And after those first 2 draws, I believe, with 8 wins in a row, so they really got a winning mentality in place quite early on.
Yeah, they know about that. That's one thing we spoke about when we had a team meeting start of the year, that every time we go on the pitch, we have to have that winning mentality. Even in training, we do small-sided games where we have a lot of fun in the small-sided games. So we orange bibs, green bibs, blue bibs. So it's like Rangers, Celtic, Hibs, Orange team or Wolves. That every team, it amounts to a point. So as the season goes on, every training session, they want to know who's leading, who's the Blues top, Greens where are they, the Orange. So every time they're training, they have that winning mentality, and I think they've taken that into the games. That if you do that in training, it goes on the pitch and they want to win every single time.
As we did mention briefly about a lot of players being involved, a lot of academy players involved as well, there's a lot of competition for places, isn't there, and also a lot of opportunities for the younger academy players to get minutes in a higher age group, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. It's nice to have have that headache of when you come to a Friday, the starting 11, who's in your mind. If someone's not really put the training how I want them to train, there's always someone in the background of thought, I'm not in a squad, but when it comes to 11v11 match prep or it comes to a training session, are they catching mine or sort of a member of staff eye line to think, do you know what, and things can change. Like it can change on a Friday night, it can change on a Saturday morning quite quickly, which is nice to have that competition. I mean, a few of the academy lads, Harry Stratford, Ewan Mountjoy, Cian Davis, Jake Crackett started the year, Tom Smith. There's been quite a lot of them. I mean, there's someone I've probably missed there, but they give that competition.
And moving through the season, getting towards the end of the season, 5 out of 6 games in the last sort of part of the season were 2-0 victories for us. So I think pretty much all of those were away from home. So that's a lot of consistency, and that was one of the reasons that we went into the end of the season winning that league. Yeah,
I mean we conceded a couple of poor goals defensively. I think we got into that mentality that every time we attack, we're going to score goals, and we didn't really have that defensive organisation that we think every time we went forward we're going to score, but we wasn't really secure at the back. And I think we've taken a lot of analysing session to make sure we're organised at the back when we're attacking, and that we don't concede goals from our attacks.
And going into the end of the season, winning the league away at Continental Star, and then coming to Agborough, a nice treat for the players, and getting an emphatic 9-0 victory. That's a great day for the
I think we won the league against Continental. You wouldn't believe it, the way the dressing room was at the end. It was very quiet, and it was like we've still got one game to play, and I think that was the reason. Probably the players they've got one more game. We want to finish the season strong. Yes, we've won the league, but we've got one more game. We want to finish on a high, and for Aid and the club to let us play on Agborough was fantastic, and give the fans a chance to have a look at the players coming through.
And they certainly impressed in that game, that final game, getting 9 goals. It was a really impressive performance, a really nice way to finish off the league season.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we spoke about on the Friday about how we're going to have the joy in areas of space to combat them, and also where we feel that we're going to get joy in the game. And when you're playing on a very, very good pitch, you can implement them attacking phases of play where we can have joy between the lines and get goals, and they've gone out and done that. Yes, it took probably 10 minutes to get the first one, but as soon as we got into areas that we knew, it was just like go and enjoy yourself and get the ball and enjoy the ball.
So throughout the season, there's been games filmed pretty much every game, and that's helped the players watch things back and pick things out that they can improve on, and that's really given that bit of extra edge.
Yeah, I mean that's one part of my job that won't ever change, analysing games you can stand and you can say things on the touchline for the players, and you might have a different opinion on what you see from my point of view, or from staff's point of view, from the players' point of view, where we can come in on the Monday after a game and we can talk about things, or where we can have joy against opposition, and where we feel that we can create space to combat teams that are either defensively organised shape-wise, or we can exploit space in different areas.
And another thing is that the players literally do train alongside the first team, so they can just have a look over and find out little bits of information, and also a lot of them going over and actually training with the first team. It's just a great opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, take for instance today, really. I mean, obviously the four of them have gone up there today. Ethan, Bailey, Shane and Nori have gone up with the first team, and we're literally side by side training with, alongside the first team, which is great. And it's not only just been them, it's been quite a few other players have gone with the first team. So to have that link, that they're just across the pitch, that the gaffer's watching, whoever that might be, if it's Jimmy O'Connor who's took a few sessions, if it's Russ Penn, or it's Mark Yates, or if it's Neil at the start of the year, they've all been watching the players train.
And also another factor is that the players have been having other opportunities to train, the likes of going to Aston Villa and being trained, being coached as part of a UEFA A licence session. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've got sort of a link with Steve Guynham, who used to be academy manager, used to be first team coach with the first team. And obviously he's now head of the PFA with a coach, so he works with links of either footballers that are going the other side of their footballer career now, where they're taking the coaching route, that we've got that link. And then obviously Steve invited the 23s along to obviously John Terry's, Mile Jedinek, Albert Adoma, Michael Dawson's A licence at Bodymore Heath in the week, which is great because it's a different environment, it's a different setting, and it's something for the players to look forward to. Even if they come to the end of their footballing career in how many years' time, that there is a pathway, and this is what the players are doing now.
And there are a number of different pathways alongside sort of the education and stuff. Also, playing pathway of getting into that first team environment. 2 players getting first team contracts, Harry Higginson and Milan Butterfield. That's a real success point of the 23s this season, alongside the league success, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, going from last season, it was like we just want to enter a league. We want to have the competitive edge and try and get a real good squad going together, and try and get players that can actually make that first team step up. And if I was honest, I probably didn't think that we could get contracts, but the lads have gone out there and taken their chance and the opportunity, and to get Harry and Milan, that's what I'm here for. To get the lads into contracts as best as I can. But at the end of the day, that 99% of it comes from the player, how much they want it, and that's a good thing to see that 2 lads have got it, and hopefully that there's a few more waiting to make their chance.
And those 2 alongside the rest of the players obviously doing education courses as well. So if they get their professional contracts, or if they don't, then they've got that pathway that they can fall back on the education in the future, regardless of what happens football-wise, which is a great sort of safety net for the players.
Yeah, I mean they're studying the uni foundation degree. I mean that. There's a business management course in that, and I mean that's a wide avenue, what routes to get into football. If that's analysing, if that's coaching, or that's in media, or anything involved in football. Football's a massive industry, not just coaching footballers, but it's also different routes into a football club, which is a great pathway for any young kid who doesn't get a contract. Yes, we all want to get contracts, but when we're realistic, to get 2 is fantastic, but there's a lot of players that don't make it. As long as they leave the football club knowing that they've got something to fall back on, they've got a route to go back into football for, then there's that avenue.
And moving forward, obviously the end of the league season now, but there's still a lot of time left for more friendlies and such things like that. There's it's not the end of the season right now, is it?
No, I mean we've got an end of season game to look forward to, the Champion of Champions, against, I think it's 3 or 4 teams still in the East that we can still play for. So we've got a lot of friendlies coming up again against it. Competitive teams. International Football Academy we played the other day. We played Hartbury in the week. We're playing Solihull Moors Academy this week. And a lot of university teams coming up just to keep the lads occupied, but also keep the winning mentality and the legs going.
And for the Harriers fans, there's a number of players in this age group. Maybe if they weren't at Agborough before for the All-Scott game, there are a number of players alongside Harry Higginson and Milan Butterfield that could make that step up to the first team. It's an exciting prospect moving forward, isn't it? It
is, yeah, and obviously, hopefully, it'll just get better next year. And we're only 2 years into it, so where we've gone now to have 2 lads getting contracts. If we go into the 3rd year and we bring more players through that can make that step up, then it's fantastic.
And also, as well as what some of the players have done here, there's some international recognition as well. Milan and Nora getting some caps internationally. Milan with them being first team. and Nori with the under-20s. It's great to see some of the players getting international recognition as well.
Yeah, it's nice to have homegrown players, but also international players that are coming through. Obviously Milan and Nori getting in, obviously either the national team or the under-20s for Bermuda is fantastic. I mean, we've got 2 Irish lads, we had a Scottish lad, we've got a Dutch lad, we've got an American, in the squad. So there's a lot of international clearances have to be made for them lads to play. But it's not just homegrown players. There's also international players that are coming into the 23s squad. And
these players that are recognising that there is a real pathway here, and it's attracting them to come from very far overseas to come and be part of it.
Yeah, it's not an easy to come to a football club. You're leaving families. That obviously a couple of the lads that have brought their dads across or their family across to watch them play. So it's not easy for them to jump ship and come across to come and play for Kidderminster under 23s, leave their home roots and try and make that pathway into a football club where they've come here, they've actually seen the pathway work with a couple of lads getting contracts. So there is that chance for them. So, they're not only those, but there's also a lot of emails that I'm receiving, Adam Crowell's receiving, the football club are receiving for players to come in and have a trial. For next year already, I think yesterday there was like 5 or 6 emails, every single one of them being an international player to come across and play for Kidderminster.
And that's an exciting prospect, isn't it? That more and more players want to be part of it. So that's more and more competition, and the standards is only going to increase, and it's going to just get better and better for not only the players but also for the football club.
Yeah, I mean that's a great thing to have, that we can take the squad of players that we've used this season. Some of them might just leave after a year of doing the personal training course. But the ones at uni, the players that are potentially going to come in for next year are only going to take the 23s group even a step further up the pyramid, which is what we want.